We used to make that joke on The Hangover all the time.
Yeah.
As like, you're making a movie and you're constantly like battling the continuity police. 'Cause it's like, you weren't wearing that jacket in the scene before. How can you be wearing that jacket? Okay, take it off, take it off. I was like, oh, but you had a bruise remember you got punched so you'd have a cut in this thing. Yeah. And so we all developed this little character that we do that was like, dear Mr. Todd Phillips, I couldn't help but notice that at minute 23, Ed Helms, who plays Stu Price, had his tooth missing. But in the previous scene, he had just been whatever. Like we would go on for hours. And I'm sure, yes, I'll get plenty of those comments on this book. That's part of the fun. Bring it on. It's part of the fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Tell me about that year, by the way, the Hangover year of it hitting. And it was so explosive. I mean, it was like, Animal House level, big comedy, culture changing, huge moment. Was it? Explain that year for me.
Wow. It was, well, let's see. It was just incredible.
Yeah.
Like so fun, also overwhelming, a little bit like, oh my God, what's happening? I really, and intensely bonding. Like with Zach and Bradley in particular, like we just went through so much together, both in the production of those movies, but also in those, in the roller coaster of promoting them and the press and all of it. But I will say, I think it was like a lot of white knuckle kind of holding on for me.
For the first one?
Yeah, certainly for the first one. And as I look back on it, I just wish I had like enjoyed the ride a little more. I mean, I did. It was really, really fun. But I think I was like just keyed up trying to like make sure I was navigating things right and making the right decisions and moving through. And that's kind of who I was in that moment at that time.
Sure.
And that was
it a surprise that it was as big as it was, or was there the vibe? I remember when they were auditioning people for it, there was already a buzz, which probably came off the script being really good, right?
That's a good question. I think you're right. There was always like a momentum to it.
Yeah, it felt like it.
And even when I first got the script, I was like, oh, I gotta do this. And I met with Todd, and he was like, yeah, I want you to do this. And I was just I was so psyched.
Yeah.
I was so psyched because I can't remember. I'd done a movie or two at that point, but this was like, I'd always had this vision in my head of like, I just want to do a movie where I'm in a car with a couple of my buddies and we're like terrified and screaming our heads off. Cause that to me is like the funniest thing.
Yeah,
when like, when people are like into like an action sequence where everybody's scared, but it's at the end of the day, it's incredibly funny. That I had this weird vision. I'm not saying I manifested the Hangover.
No, there's something to that. I believe that.
But I did. I'd always had this idea of like, I want to be in a car that's like wildly out of control, screaming with my buddies like we're scared, and because that makes me laugh. Like that's just such a funny idea. And then here comes the script, and it's like, oh, that happens 5 times in this movie, and I got to do this.
Amazing.
And then while we were making it, I can honestly say like we were laughing so hard and like making each other laugh so much.
Yeah.
And we were making the crew laugh. Like there were just moments you could tell like, oh, this is going to look so good on camera. Or like this like physical comedy bit is going to land so great. I remember when we got to the set for the hotel room, which was not an actual hotel room in Vegas. It was on a soundstage here in LA. And
first time learning that.
Yeah.
Right? First time. This is why show business is so great. This is why it's so great. You can fool everybody at any time.
I mean, we shot a ton in Vegas.
Yeah.
But like that wake up scene.
Yeah.
That was on a soundstage at Warner Brothers here in LA.
Brilliant.
And I remember walking onto that set and just being like, oh my God, like the production design team has just blown this out of the water. And like, what I just like picking up
you get to play
stuff. You're like, look at all this stuff. This is so funny. Like, what could have possibly led to this, this underwear right here on this couch? Like, what did these guys get into?
What
like
a gold mine.
We're having those same moments of discovery that I think the audience had later on, but we're like walking onto the set like, oh, this is great.
Amazing.
And
that's so great.
One of many ways that Todd Phillips is a genius is like surrounding himself with brilliant teammates.
Right.
So like the
meaning yourself.
Well, really the only thing he did right was put me in that movie. Can we be honest? No, but all the department heads,
right?
The director of photography, the production designer, the costume designer, like everybody. It's just like the best of the best, and not only are they brilliantly talented, but those crews, we made 3 very intense movies together, and those crews were like a family. Like everyone supported each other and helped each other through crazy times. And
it's so great to treat comedy that way, right? Because a lot of times you'll have when we were growing up, like of these comedies, and they were shot great. There wasn't like a lot of, but to like have that kind of expertise filmmaking for a comedy, it just adds to the weight of it, right?
I think that was a little bit of what also was paradigm shifting about that movie. Todd shot it the way Martin Scorsese would shoot a mob movie.
Yeah,
like it looks gritty. Yeah, and like. And it's like we're sweaty and gross, and it's lit dramatically. Right. Larry Sher, who won the Oscar for The Joker, also Todd Phillips' movie, shot The Hangover, and he's just a brilliant photographer. Like, he just has a way of seeing things and knowing how to like enhance the drama or the comedy of a moment. But I think at that time, we were very much in a moment of like big, broad movies being brightly lit and like everyone looking really clean and chipper.
Right,
and,
exactly.
And I love those movies. That's a lot of like, that was kind of the, like what movie? Like so many of Judd's movies that like 40-Year-Old Virgin, which is like one of my favorite movies ever. Yeah. But it has a look. It's a very sort of like, it's a bright, cheerful movie.
Right, exactly.
And there was something about The Hangover that was like, we're not cheerful.
No, this is like Midnight Run.
This is dark. We're going to throw some dark energy in here. And I think I always think about the magic trick of that movie, which because I found myself in a hotel lobby about a month after it came out. I was in a hotel lobby in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and which is a whole other story. And I'm sitting next to this group of old ladies, and they're talking about The Hangover. They had just seen it, and they're like, "It's so funny. Those boys get into all kinds of stuff, and they just get themselves in the worst pickles, and they get themselves out of it, and they're such sweet boys." And I'm thinking, like, did we see the same movie?
This is reaching,
But what was incredible is that movie, because we woke up the next morning and we were horrified by our own behavior, it allowed like all the bros to be like, "Oh yeah, look at all that crazy shit they did. Like, I wish I could do that with my friends." And then all the grandmas would be like, "Oh, they felt so bad about it." It's like and so like there was something for everyone.
That's brilliant.
Could like so many people could. And I remember I was sitting next to my mom at the premiere, like kind of mortified. Like I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, like repressed Southern, and I thought my mom would just be like so terrified. She was in tears after the movie because she was laughing so hard. Wow. And that's when I was like, okay, I think we're gonna be all right.